instructional designs and how instructional designs can help making the lesson plans more effective, and most importantly, how to use the digital resources and make the students aware that computer technology or educational technology has now become an integral part of day-to-day learning in the schools. So Assure model is one such model which helps in catering and devising effective lesson plan on learning strategies among the students. It is highly effective in all types, all genres of the age group. However, we use Assure more for the high school children, wherein the science subjects, the history, concept-related subjects can be very successfully, kind of placed in the Assure model. Now, what is Assure basically? So Assure, as you all know, is analyze, go on, anyone else? Analyze. S is for stating objectives. Next, S is for anyone, please tell me. Are you there? Can you please tell me? What is the third objective in Assure? First is analyze, second is stating objectives. What is the third one? I am waiting. Is my voice audible?
Ma'am, select method, media, and materials.
Yes, yes, yes. And next,
Utilize media and materials.
yes, utilizing materials. Yes. Next is,
Require learners' participation.
yes. After that,
Evaluate and revise.
yes. So Assure is basically done in a very chronological way. And like I told you today, that I'm adapted Assure model for a lesson plan of 9th to 12th grade students. So you can see here that the first analyze learners. What is the priority in that? The priority is to determine the prior knowledge and check the aptitude of the child. Like if the child has learned multiplication tables, how well he can put the multiplication tables to further, kind of solve a problem, or how can he rise the difficulty level of a particular question by adapting and using the previous knowledge that the child has. Similarly, the way we do a pre-reading activity in scaffolding, analyze is the first step in assured model. So, like I have written there, it is the lesson plan that I have designed is between 14 and 18. So young adults are able to read, comprehend, and dissect the given material. Now in standard 9, 10, 11, 12, we can afford to give them multiple instructions, and we can ask them to do referencing, and we can ask them to improvise their answers in their own language, because we understand that from ninth onwards, the general concept of the child has developed, and the child is now ready to, kind of expand his knowledge by reading multiple texts, by reading one text and then referring to other documents. So the child does develop a lot of sense, and he doesn't mind in terms of writing it in his own language. So this is the age which must be exploited more in the assured model. Then young adults, like I told you, comprehend, dissect the given material. They can also formulate conclusions and predictions, as well as postulate theories. Now, what do you mean by postulating theories? Anyone? What does postulating theories mean? Yes, please. Is it very difficult that whatever I'm asking? Because the response is not coming as I am expecting it to come. What is postulate? आपके पास फोन्स होंगे, आप गूगल करके बताइए मुझे, लेकिन आप बताइए जल्दी मुझे.
It's assumption.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because nobody is speaking. I don't know why. I
Yes.
want that others also speak, then only I will tell. But I don't know. And very few people are joining today, na?
Yeah, yeah, and the reason is because, ma'am, the timing that has been changed.
Yeah.
तीन बजे से
बिल्कुल.
मुझे भी दिक्कत होती है.
I just
लेकिन मैं क्या
took the
कर रहा हूँ?
lunch and I am joining. मतलब बिल्कुल
Yes,
अभी
yes,
पहुंचे
yes.
घर. कोई बात नहीं.
Yes.
It happens.
Yes.
Recording is
Like,
there.
Recording is there. I'm sharing the recording, but it is breaking the momentum of the class the way we used to have it. So yes, getting back to the topic, postulate is means assumptions. So when the child is able to understand or dissect a content, then the child will very easily have the ability to postulate theories. Now, postulating theories means he can write something in anticipation. He can write something based on the understanding that he has developed after reading a text. So therefore, we must be able to help the child in formulating that. We must not restrict, or we must not create a barrier for him. He must be free to write, and then we might correct him, or again, kind of channelize or edit what he is telling. But his different viewpoint must be considered. So that is the first priority in analyzing the learners. The next one is, according to Gagne has devised this model. So it is necessary to translate the needs and goals into objectives that are sufficiently specific to guide the instructor in teaching and the learner in study. So according to Gagne, it is very important that if the goals and the objectives are sufficiently specific, if that as teacher we are able to specifically state the objectives or the needs of a content or a need of a class, then we can, our first battle is conquered. Because if we are in clarity as to what we are going to do, automatically the end product will be much more clearer and specific to what we are looking for. And as I told you that I have taken Nat Turner's history book, which was available in the open education resources. So get students to comprehend the different methods of historical thought, as well as show the nature of the cause and effects in history. Students will be able to identify the correlation between Nat Turner's slave rebellion. So here I want the students to comprehend the different methods of historical thought, as well as the nature of the show cause and effect इन दी हिस्ट्री. ठीक है, तो नैट टर्नर की जीवनी पर है ये, और इसमें हम चाह रहे हैं कि उनकी जो मतलब परिभाषा थी रेबेलियन की, उसको बच्चा अच्छे से समझ पाए कि क्या कॉजेस थे और उसका इफेक्ट क्या था. और उसके पहले बच्चा ये भी जाने कि क्या ज़रूरी है, मतलब हमें अगर हिस्टोरिकल कुछ हम किसी हिस्टोरिकल पर्सन पे कर रहे हैं स्टडी, तो क्या किस तरीके का इन्वेस्टिगेटिव मेथड मुझे लेना है. तो उसको मैं बहुत क्लियरली बच्चे को चाह रही हूँ कि बच्चा पढ़े और बताए मुझे. दूसरा है कि उस पर्टिकुलर नैट टर्नर की किताब से द इंक्रीज इन अब्यूज टुवर्ड्स सेव in the South during the early 1800s. Students will participate in a class discussion about slave rebellion and their causes and effects on the Southern life in the 1800s. This is Virginia Southampton. तो वर्जीनिया साउथहैम्पटन का जो ये स्टोरी है, इस स्टोरी के हिसाब से मैं ये चाहूँगी कि बच्चे एक डिबेट करें और इस वाद विवाद के दौरान बच्चे आपस में डिस्कस करें. तो डिस्कस करने के लिए बच्चों को पढ़ के आना पड़ेगा. और अक्सर आप देखिए कि जब आप डिबेट्स ऑर्गेनाइज करेंगे या क्विज़ेस ऑर्गेनाइज करेंगे, तो बच्चे बहुत बढ़ चढ़कर उसमें हिस्सा लेते हैं. इवन इफ अ चाइल्ड हु इज वेरी पैसिव, when divided in a group, will try to contribute in his or her own way in the group discussion. So we must very sincerely initiate debates in the best possible way, means not just in English or Hindi, but most of the times we neglect civics, we neglect geography, we neglect history. for debates. I think these are more, necessary in terms of debating, because once the child enters into a classroom discussion or a debate with history in mind or civics in mind, they will be doing an in-depth study, not only related to the task or the topic that has been assigned, but in order to defend the topic, he will be reading three more texts extra. So that is how you will be creating the need of, kind of extrinsic reading. So when we encourage extrinsic reading, we will automatically make the child acquainted with other texts, other books apart from the curriculum. The third one is select method, media, and materials. And I find this to be very important in the instructional design for today's times. So, the duty of an instructor is to bridge the new technology with the existing materials. Instructors must understand how technology is used to educate learners. So, as I've clearly stated, that why do we want to select methods, media, and materials? We want to select it because we want the child to understand how the technology is working and how the existing materials or the materials that were created much before, how can they be put into the technology mode, and how this gap can be bridged. So, lot of simulation techniques, lot of scaffoldings, lot of visual aid techniques can be incorporated in these kind of Azure models. So, through the visual learning as well as discussion, using videotapes, textbooks, and various articles. One article that I referred, I have mentioned that Confessions of Nat Turner. Then the historical documents, as much as the child can lay hands on. That also, whatever I received, I have mentioned it. Then film experts from, if available, film experts from Nat Turner's property. So I have also mentioned the page number of their textbook. Okay, whatever textbook they have, the page number has been mentioned there, so that the child, when watches the film, is not clueless. He has read the chapters, page number 28 to 34, to understand what the film is actually depicting about. So in that way, you have very precisely kind of and very cohesively, you have tried to mix the videotapes, that is the audiovisual aids, along with the learning aids or the existing material that the child has. And in this way, we might make a Herculean task into a very simple and a classified task. When we are able to connect with day-to-day experiences and day-to-day practices, we will be very successfully teaching the children a lot of complicated theories, because it happens that even as learners or even as teachers, I feel that it's a constant interaction. It's a kind of a one-way communication, wherein the other person is not able to communicate the way the teacher or the instructor is expecting them to be. In that case, if some kind of extra materials pumped in or some kind of audiovisual aid is a treat to the eyes as well as a break from the monotony. So by breaking the monotony, you can assure that the child's attention, the perception level is increased. Now, again, utilizing materials, the instructor must make the lessons interesting by choosing appropriate materials to be used by the learners. Now, here I would like to quote yesterday's Bloom's Digital Taxonomy, in which I tried consciously to read out the different websites which can be used in every sphere, starting from create knowledge. So every sphere, I tried my best to, kind of hyperlink something for you, which can be used by you later on. So as an instructor, if I feel that in a less time, in a less given time, if I'm able to deliver you maximum contents, I think as a potential, kind of instructor, I would be able to clear my goals at the end of the day. Now, as receivers, the children who are at the receiving end or the learners who are at the receiving end, what is the add-on for them is when they are going to see specifically, okay, like for this thing, this particular website has been used, this thing, this is the page number that has been suggested. So when we give them and particularly refer to them, mention the referring pages, it will somehow make the child relieve that अच्छा अभी नहीं समझ में आया तो मैं जो मैम ने कहा है मैं उसे खोल कर देख लूंगा. ये बहुत लोगों के परसेप्शन में रहता है. तो इससे कहीं ना कहीं बच्चे का स्ट्रेस लेवल कम हो जाता है। ये हम लोग क्यों करते हैं? आई एवरी डे इन माई क्लास आई एम्फसाइज दैट प्लीज डोंट वरी, आई विल बी गिविंग द हैंडआउट्स, आई विल बी sharing this, I'll be sharing that. Why? Because I personally feel that constantly, if a person is assured that you will be taken care of, this would be done, this would be done, then it would be actually taken care of. One must trust that. So similar thing goes with the children also. I think whenever we are in the learning mode, we are always children. Because if we are flexible, then we have the child in us alive. And if we think that we know all the things in the world, then we will be complicating our life. Therefore, I feel utilizing materials should be something that should be very flexible, that should be full of visual stimulus, and one must be able to very clearly connect with the materials. So the students I've mentioned here, the students will watch the video, which will help them better understand the characters of history that we are discussing. Students will also read over certain passages in the text and articles to receive another form of visual stimulation as well. Also, students will view experts from the film to receive an information on the slave revolt. There will be a brief discussion on the film in where everyone will give their interpretation of the film. Students will then read the chapters in the book that refer to Nat Turner from the text, the slave trade, and complete the question at the end of the chapter. In standard 9, 10, 11, 12, we do not give them, or I would not personally encourage you to give them notes in question answer forms, because we will be somehow making their work easy. And in order to make their work easy, we will be completely damaging their aptitude to search things. Okay, when they have this knack, when they learn this knack of finding answers and writing relevant to the question, they would be much better student, much better competitor for their future exams. Please remember that in India we have competition and exams in every possible sphere. Therefore, if the child is able to, kind of generate self-inquiry and generate this power of able to dissect the materials and then pick what is best for them, I think the children will be in a very successful place. Irrespective of what marks they have, they would definitely be having a hands-on expertise with the concept that they are supposed to know. So, am I making myself very clear? Because there is a pin drop silence, and I am very worried about it. Is my voice audible? Is my thing understandable to everyone? Can anyone please unmute yourself and tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. We're
okay,
listening. Yes, ma'am.
okay, okay. Okay, so moving on, required learner participation. Now, as the name suggests, required learner participation. लर्निंग जो है वो बहुत पार्टिसिपेटरी है। जैसे मैंने अभी आप लोगों को बार बार मैं कह रही हूँ कि आप मुझे बताइए, आप अनम्यूट करिए, तो आपके पार्टिसिपेशन से मुझे एक तरीके का मोटिवेशन मिलेगा, मुझे एक तरीके की पॉजिटिविटी फील होगी कि ओके, व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इज समथिंग that is working for this particular group. So to justify that, one needs to be very kind of interactive and participative in their approach. Now what exactly we are looking forward in requiring learner participation is ample opportunity for the students to practice the lesson and adequate feedbacks. It should include a variety of meaningful activities for the students to participate in problem solving and critical thinking. So, like I told you, ample opportunity for the students to practice the lesson. So, like I have made a model, and if I'm keeping a timeline along with it, so the child will be fixing his schedule according to the timeline, and might be able to practice it every now and then. So also, if the child is constantly practicing and constantly doing something, then obviously the teacher also, the instructor will also get the adequate feedback that okay, you are doing this, that's why you're receiving this problem. Okay, you're doing this, that's why you have this doubt. So that will become a very participatory approach. It should include a variety of meaningful activities for the students to participate in problem solving and critical thinking. Like I told you, problem solving and critical thinking is something that we tend to ignore in many aspects. But I personally feel that if as teachers we are able to initiate this through our strategies, through our lesson plans, through our questions, I think that would be make a lot of difference, because even the current national education policy focuses on concepts and does believe that there should be more problem solving or critical thinking that should happen in the children. And I'm very hopeful that after our advanced education classes, every one of you will use some kind of a model in making your lesson plans, and you would be able to justify and quote that I have learned this model and this is what I'm applying here. I think that would be the biggest, guru dakshina that I would be receiving from all of you, because reading a model and explaining it is one of the most easiest work that instructor can do. But what is actually the battle is how to put the model in practice, how you devise your lesson plan in that model's format, and later on what evaluation techniques do you devise after finishing your assessment in that model. So I would be focusing on these type of aspects in your assignment. I would be discussing that also, since we are almost on the verge of completion. So I would be helping you out in kind of wanting what designing what um, I want from you. Like if I want you to design Assure using your subject area. For example, if someone is from biology, so if you want to use Assure model, so you would like to tell me that which age group you are going to pick, what context or what content you want to pick for the Assure model, like that. So basically आपको जो assignments मिलेंगे वो इसी तरीके के होंगे, और हो सकता है कि इस assignment को समय की कमी के कारण मैं आप लोगों को डायरेक्टली टर्म पेपर के दौरान ही उसे सबमिशन करवा लूँ, तो वो सब डिपेंड करता है, ठीक है? अभी आई एम नॉट कमिटिंग एनीथिंग, because I'm waiting for the confirmation, and I think the confirmation for all these dates and everything will come by Monday. So till Monday, I want everyone to please wait. Moving on, in the required learner participation, the student will read the article from the Enquirer, okay, the Confession of Nat Turner. This is the extra additional reading material from their school library that has been picked up. And then compare and contrast to opposing views on Nat Turner's slave revolt in an open forum. Like I told you that I've planned a class discussion for this. So the class will be talking on two different views. The class will be split up into two teams, each team fighting for the particular viewpoint of either Nat Turner or the Enquirer. Then the teams will switch viewpoints and start over again. Students will then plan a slave revolt using the weapons and area that time to see why Nat Turner failed and what improvements could have been made in his plan, if any. So this is what I have thought, that this is how the discussion is going to go on. And the rubrics that I'm looking forward here is how well the child is going to switch over from one viewpoint to another, and how the child is going to minutely work out as to what were the positive aspects of the revolt, or why Nat Turner was such a influencer. And the other side could also see that why it did not work, why the revolt failed, etc. So by this aspect, I would be making the child into critical thinking and problem solving mode, because the child will be, while talking, he would himself improvise and he would himself try to justify what he is feeling. Then we have evaluate and revise. Now, evaluate and revise as teachers, it is such a part and parcel of our job. So, evaluating the entire lesson is very crucial for further improvements. And we must always feel that whatever content we are making, it can be better in the next year, even better in the next year. So, when we have that spirit in mind, we should be consciously trying to focus on how the materials can be enhanced, and similarly how the evaluation pattern can be made more mobile, in a mobile format, which the child kind of understands and tries to score according to the evaluation system. So evaluating the entire lesson is very crucial for further improvements. Instructor must evaluate to see whether his or her objectives are achieved. Before presenting the lessons again, appropriate revision and correction must be done. So, like I told you, this is the standard thing that we do. It's just that when put on a paper, it does turn out to be a model. Now, in the last one that we are going to see, students will show what they have learned by writing 1 or 2 page paper citing the facts. Information gained from today's lesson will be discussed. Students will exhibit what they learned through the discussion and by completing a worksheet. Questions will be asked and answered by students with help of the teacher. So, with the help of the teacher, the questions will be asked and answered. The students will exhibit what they have learned. So, it is basically a way of synthesizing what you have taught all these times or what they have learned all these times. We do understand that the children must be provided a variety of questions, and as much as we can, we must try to use open ended questions in the long answers and close ended questions for small answers. So, this is how, in a nutshell, I've tried to summarize Assure for you. And can anyone please unmute himself or herself and just read out this table to me? And I think with this table, we will be completing the Assure model. Anyone, please?
Yes, madam, I am reading.
Yes, thank you. Yes, please go.
Instructional design according to Assure. Analysis. Audience, learners, skills, prior knowledge, age, grade, and attitude learning style. State objectives. Clear and sound objectives. Achievements, intended audience, behavior, learning conditions, equipments, maps, dictionaries, planning. Selection of media. Media must be relevant, sound, graphics, and animations. Blend technology, learner education, instructor education. Utilization of material. Positive utilization, make interesting lessons, appropriate materials, classroom conditions, equipment, lights and facilities, require learner performance, opportunity, practice the lesson, give feedback, activities, critical thinking, problem solving, useful communication, evaluation, evaluate lesson, objectives, revision again, correction and test.
Yes. So I have tried my best to summarize instructional design of Assure. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. It's okay.
Okay. So many of you have asked me to send the PPTs to you. I am not sending it for some reasons because I want all of you to first go through the handouts because it takes a lot of efforts to, make the